Hello everyone, it's Tuesday, it's 10 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. London, and we're live for the final Tuesday Tips Live of the term. It's the last day of term, people. You can bring a game to school, you don't have to wear your uniforms, and we don't have a fixed agenda, but we do have a very, very special guest for you for our end of term party. And of course it follows the big 4th of July weekend across there in the States, which is a doubly good reason to be thankful for who we've got, who's got up early to be with us today. We'll get to that in just 2 seconds because I want to introduce him first. He is the hip-hop innovator. He was the man who was DJing before hip-hop was a thing and who set the scene for so many DJs who followed through turntablism, scratching, hip-hop and so on. Of course, you know him through his work with Will Smith and his work with his Touch of Jazz record label, touring the world for decades now, and more recently, his live streams. He's, of course, the one and only DJ Jazzy Jeff, who we're proud to have made a course with here at Digital DJ Tips, and he is our special guest. For the next half hour, Jeff is going to be talking to us about, well, his big weekend, because of course, 4th of July, he always does a big party, and also what he's been up to recently since we last spoke to him, which was a few months ago. Of course, he'll be answering questions about his DJing and his fantastic DJ course. So without further ado, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you, Phil. How are you?
I'm very good. More to the point, I know we got you up early, Jeff, and I know that you've been partying all weekend, as of course we would expect with it being the 4th of July weekend. How are you?
I'm good. We had a great time. Yesterday we did a live stream. I have the legendary Scratch Bastard and the legendary Shortcut actually flew out. So they're in the house. They're probably asleep somewhere. And we did, probably a 4.5, close to 5-hour live stream, all across the globe, and barbecued, and we ate, and we played some great tunes, and then we signed off and had a fireworks display, and it was a good time. Like whenever you can mix work and pleasure up like that, it's always good.
Jeff, it's a good place to start our chat because, of course, that's your life through and through. You have a fantastic home, which is also your studio. It's also where you make music and where you DJ from and do your live streams from. And your live streams can happen in the studio. They can happen by the pool. They can happen when you're barbecuing with your family. You really blur the lines between work and home life, don't you? Work and family and work and fun. Is this something that's happened deliberately in your life, would you say?
Yes and no. It's really one of those things that I don't ever look at what I do separates me from who I am. So, I don't go in a phone booth and turn into DJ Jazzy Jeff, and I don't turn back into Jeff Towns when I come in the house. It's easier for me to be one way. That's why I think the lines are blurred a little bit, because the same guy on stage is the same guy that makes pancakes.
It's funny you should say that because it reminds me of Fatboy Slim, who we've also featured here, who says, when I put my tropical shirt on, I stop being Norman Cook and I start being Fatboy Slim. And when it comes off at the end, that he's gone away again for a bit. And it's just funny to hear your kind of take on that it's a little bit different for you. And it's kind of the same guy all the way through.
All the way. And sometimes that's a gift, sometimes that's a curse. So
yeah, well, there's no right way and wrong way of doing this stuff, is there? But we're here to learn about your way today, Jeff. Now listen, the audience we're live on our Facebook page, we're live in our Facebook group, we're also live on YouTube and Twitch, so we've got lots of people tuning in. So I want to make it as much about them as I can today, Jeff. So I want to just tell the audience, I always like to hold this up. Keep calm, audience, and ask once. Don't keep cut and pasting your question, please, because we get kind of cluttered up if you do that. And if you want to use the hashtag ask to ask questions, even better. It'll just make it easier for me and the team to pull your questions out live. So I'm not going to do the usual hellos to all our fantastic regulars because I want to dive straight in to your questions for Jeff. That said, Joe says, I'm going to have to catch the replay. I've been looking forward to this. So yeah, you can watch the replay, people. This is very true. Certainly you can catch the replay on YouTube and on Facebook. So Jeff, it's quite a cheeky question to start off here from one of our regulars. You don't like my music. That's his name, by the way, not an accusation. He says, how much in royalties did you have to pay Kool and the Gang for the summertime sample?
I don't, I think it might have just been some publishing. I think
Okay, well,
because it was their cover, they just took publishing. I don't think it was any money up front, especially back then. It's a little bit different now. They're asking for everything. Back then they were a little bit, depending on how you came to them, they were a little bit more lenient.
yeah. I mean, I was reading DJ Shadow talking about, making that fantastic LP back in the 90s, and he said that the record label said to him, give us all the samples so we can clear them. And he's like, well, have you got a lot of paper to print them out? And they said, oh, just give us the top 8 then. And there's like, there's Queen in there and all this stuff. And they said it was easy. But like you say, times have changed a lot, haven't they?
Yes, it has. Yes,
When it comes to that. Right, so Jeff has made a fantastic course with us, and a lot of you are already asking questions about this course. So I just want to, for those of you that have had your heads in the sand, I just want to tell you what it is, and I'm just going to show the audience this for a second, Jeff. So Jeff made a DJ course which you can find out about by going to digitaldjtips.com and scrolling down and finding this big banner here. When you do, you'll click through to a page where Jeff himself explains about the course. More importantly, if you do it in the next 18 hours, you will be able to get $100 off, which is Jeff's special 4th of July offer on this course. And when you do that, you click through to a little page that looks like this, where you just enter your details and then you get the course for life for that one discounted payment. When you're in the course, this is where the fun begins, because we've put together an incredible journey through the way Jeff does this. It starts right at the beginning, takes you through the gear and the music, and then Jeff teaches you techniques. It's all based around a fantastic mix he's done for us, which you can only find in the course. You can download it. The mix is all time stamped, and there's even the ability to jump to individual lessons when you are looking at the mix. So if you think, hey, that's something I want to do in this amazing mix, where you get to see his decks overhead and his Serato and all that. You can actually jump to the lessons and figure out how to do the individual tricks. This is a level of depth that you don't get anywhere, and certainly you'll never get with DJ Jazzy Jeff anywhere. It's really fantastic what he's built here. And so this is the course that Jeff has made with us, and we'd love you to ask questions about DJing, about the course, whatever. And the first one we have is about DJing, and this is from Solbra Harmony, who says, what's the best way to train your hands to be independent to work on scratching, Jeff? How do you do it?
You basically have to do it until it becomes normal to you, which is hard, because it's almost like learning how to write with your left hand. You have to keep writing your name over and over and over and over, and it gets better. Like, a lot of times people ask because they want a shorter way to do it, but it's really muscle memory. It's really your hands have to get used to not talking to your brain out loud. It has to be natural.
There's a lot of drills in the course, people, where we just Jeff shows you something and we break it out and give you that to just kind of like practice over and over again, because we know it's like riding a bike or learning to rub your tummy and pat your head. Not that you can see me rubbing my tummy, but these things just take a bit of practice. Hey, we can only see your hand, Jeff. That's the thing with these. I've zoomed in on you. Okay, people, we've got DJ Jazzy Jeff live with us here on Tuesday Tips Live for the last one of the term before we take our summer break. He's got up early for this. Lots of you are loving it, and lots of you are wishing you could stay, but remember, you can watch the replay. So keep asking your questions, and I'm just going to pick them. I'm scrolling through them now. As always, when we've got Jeff on, there's so many questions to look at, which makes it harder for me to find the ones I want to share, but I will nonetheless push on. I'm scanning the list now, as you can probably tell. DJ Heldeep says, I'm a new local DJ and my technique is not so good, but people love me because I select good music. What's your opinion, Jeff, on technique versus music selection?
The most important thing in the world is music selection. Like, you're not going to get anywhere without music selection. I don't care how good your technique is. People come to hear the music first. When you can add the technique on to good selection, that's when you reach the top. But nothing is more important than your selection.
Yeah. I mean, in the course you talk about, certainly when it comes to scratching, you talk about how scratching is the seasoning.
Yeah.
It's not the meal. And people sometimes think if you can get that, but it's almost like the big endless guitar solo at a live rock concert, isn't it? It's kind of like, when's it going to stop? You're missing the point here. We've come for the songs, not the solos.
Yes.
So look, here's a big question, and I know I know you can't answer this in a week. Never mind in a couple of sentences, Brooke. But I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sure you can answer Brooke's question. Just maybe give a pointer or two on this one. Who basically says, what's the best way to get known as a DJ, to get big as a DJ, to get somewhere?
There's no real, there's no real blueprint. A lot of it is, if you look at it like the getting known is making people know who you are and understand what you do. So you need to do that in front of as many people as possible. So that's the first thing and foremost. Anybody having an event, anybody, you need to go and see if you can play for 30 minutes to make people understand what you do. And you have to make those 30 minutes count, because you can be known, but you can also be known for sucking. So you want to make sure that when you get that opportunity, that you make the best of it.
It's a good point, actually, because we always teach you can't be a DJ at home. DJing is a team sport. You have to get out there and do it. But
Yeah.
you're right there as well. Of course, if you're terrible, you're not doing yourself any favors. I mean, our tutor, laid back Luke, said once, if you want to produce music, make 100 tunes before you give me one. Because unless you've made 100 tunes first, I can tell you immediately that what you give me is not going to be good enough. So to get to the point where you're not sucking in public, Jeff, apart from taking your course from Digital DJ Tips, of course, but to get to that point, but at the same time not stalling, not spending 5 years in your bedroom thinking, oh, I'm not worthy of playing in front of my grandmother. How do you get to, where do you find that balance to get to that point where you think you're probably going to be all right? Is it about playing smaller parties where it doesn't really matter, or how would you navigate that as a new DJ?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you have to, first of all, you got to surround yourself with honest people. Like, if you got friends, your friends need to tell you that you suck. That's the first thing. And then you start DJing around people who don't know you to see, because they're going to be more honest with you than anybody. So maybe small gatherings and bars and, rec centers, even if you have the ability to set some equipment up outside somewhere and just play for the public, just to make, can I get a reaction out of these people? Can I make these people dance? Did they like the order of the records that I played? Did they like the tunes that I selected? All of that is very important. And it's really, I kind of use the terminology like you're herding cattle. Like, you got to get one person turns to two people turn to four turns to 8. That's how you build up a following. I think because of social media, a lot of times now people think that I can pay for followings, that I can do this one thing and I'm going to get 1 million followers, and it doesn't work like that. You have to build those up. You want, and this is a very important point. It is very much more important to have authentic followers than numbers. You would rather 100 people that love what you do than 10,000 people that don't care at all and they just click the button.
I think that is slow and sure, isn't it? It's like build up slowly and also, not deciding that you're now going to be a DJ and then forgetting everyone because they're suddenly not cool enough. You're going to go and find this amazing crowd that are going to follow you because you're now going to be a DJ. It's kind of like the people, your first fans are already in your phone, aren't they? They're already the numbers that and you've got to work out from what you know. I think people think fresh start, cooler crowd, forget everyone I know, but they're your best asset at the beginning, right? It's the people you've already met and who already know you.
They're going to be honest.
Yep. So great, thank you for that, Jeff. That's far more value than I thought we could give in a couple of minutes here. And this is, I've got so many good questions coming in, Jeff. They've started now. It always takes 2 minutes, and then we've got some really, really good ones. ADG Jones, is there an age you should stop DJing?
No, not at all. There's DJing. The best answer I can give you for that is there an age that you should stop listening to music?
I think that if you hit the nail on the head there, if you can still stand up for the time it takes to play a DJ set and you still love music, where's the rules?
That's
there
it.
Aren't any.
There's not an age that you should start, so it definitely shouldn't be an age that you should finish.
Selector Shaka says, how does it feel to move to digital?
The move to digital was really more about the equipment. And the reason why it was easy is because my approach to music never changed. You know, I play the same way I play digital that I play if I'm playing 45s. I may not have a cue point, but I can needle drop to where the cue point is. That's how I came up. So I just think changing your equipment is more about your comfort level, not about the public, because the public don't care what you plan on.
Mm. Good point there, actually. And I think the only people who care about this stuff are other DJs. Mm-hmm. And the trouble is, if you're a DJ, they're the people you're hanging out with. They're the people who are on the social channels you're on. And so you get this kind of view that it really matters. And like you say, Jeff, no one cares except other DJs. And you're not playing for other DJs.
That's it.
So what are your feelings about DJs who have never, and likely will never, touch real turntables and vinyl, says AJ.
If they can rock a party and rock a crowd and entertain people with the music that they play, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, I came up with turntables. You can't really expect someone that's starting to DJ today to start off with turntables. That doesn't make sense. You know, there wasn't a microwave maybe 30 years ago. You know, I don't know too many people who live in places that don't have a microwave now. Times change, things evolve. You know, at the end of the day, the one thing that never changes is the music.
The interesting thing about that is, Jeff, that, you know, people of our kind of age, we started on really poor quality turntables and mixers. Yeah. And then as we made money and as we improved, we could buy better kit, and better kit got made. And then along came CDJs and DVS, and then finally controllers and laptops, and you know, we kind of like, and now you can DJ on your phone. We kind of jumped on it all. This is great, this is great, this is great, this is great. And what we see, and I think it's quite sweet, is DJs now starting off on their phone and then buying a piece of equipment and then maybe buying a proper controller and then learning how to use CDJs in a club. And then they're like, you know, one day I want to learn how to use turntables. And it shows to me a real respect for the culture and where it's come from, that people aren't satisfied with not scratching that itch and with that, and not at least having a chance to try where it came from. I think that's nice to hear. We hear it a lot in the community, of course.
And I think what's really important too is I don't know too many people that are curious about what brand of tools the person who built the house used. The only thing that you care is if you like the house. Are you comfortable in the house? You're not like, oh, this house is whack because he used tools from Sears. You know, at the end of the day, I think people put a lot of emphasis on the tools and not what you do with them.
A good point. Back to what you were saying earlier. It's only other DJs really, and I guess it's only as a DJ in curious about the culture that you might want to try different things just for your own good, really. But forgetting about the music and forgetting about the job at your peril, really. Terence says it's a great course. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Phil and Professor Jeff. G. Washington, Jeff, your course is priceless. You recommended finding a DJ crew. Do you have any tips on accomplishing that? So yeah, in the course you're talking a lot about not doing it on your own, finding your crowd, finding your crew. And if someone is struggling to do that, any tips, Jeff?
Like, well, you know what's crazy is back in the day, we had to find the DJ crews or the other people that DJ'd in your neighborhood. You know, now with social media, you can almost send out a bat signal of, is it anybody out there that's into DJing and would like to hook up so we can practice together? Like, the crews don't come first, the practice sessions come first, and that's where you work the crew out. Like, you don't say, hey, I'm starting a football team and I want everybody to come and just play. You got to have tryouts because not everybody really wants to do it. So you find the tryouts, you find the people that click with you, and that's when the crew starts.
So do it. Start doing it, and worry about the support building later. Um, Here's a question again from our friend You Don't Like My Music, who says, your musical taste, Jeff, is impeccable. You tread the line between crowd pleasers and rare grooves perfectly. How much time do you still devote to just listening to music?
Whenever I'm not making music, I am always listening to music. And that could be Spotify, Apple Music, that could be a mixtape, that could be just a random playlist. Um, to me, being a good selector is about discovering new music and figuring out where it fits and when you can play it. Um, I have a lot of methods that um, a lot of a lot of my search engines go to a folder in my Dropbox that is on my Serato computer. So I can be on a train and discover something and click save and it'll automatically go to that folder because that's the folder that I know anything that I like I put in, and then you figure out where it goes. But you know listening to music is a never ending thing. That'll be until I can't hear anymore, knock on wood.
It is, isn't it? And it's the only thing we teach that music and programming is the skill that no DJ knows fully, because
Yeah,
music's always changing. So how can you know it fully? Music, there's always something around the corner that no one predicted. So how can you know it fully?
yeah.
Um, you were talking about how just a few years ago, you couldn't find tracks that were more than 90 BPM, Jeff, and now 150 BPM is the new pop music norm. But
Yeah,
it ain't going to be for long. There's going to be something else in 18 months. Um,
absolutely. It's beautiful.
so always a new challenge. I have to share this one. Dope Lyrics says, Jeff, looking forward to seeing you at Moving Festival in August. I hope you're still heading over there, Jeff. It's a festival close to my heart because it's partly run by Herbie, a guy who used to be my resident DJ back when I
Right.
ran a club in the 90s and 2000s. So I really hope you enjoy that one too, Jeff. And
I'm
hello to
looking
the
forward to it.
Marple crew. I went to school in that town, Jeff. So when you're there, think of me.
That's
Um,
right.
it's a nice place. Okay, so this is from DJ Accurate, who's just agreeing, who says 100% music programming and tastefully sprinkling in technical scratches to enhance and complement the mix and transition is what it's all about. So, Jeff, you're a positive guy. You're a guy who has got no time for really getting in any way into this kind of thing, but I do want to share it because a lot of people think this stuff. And it's just Elliot asking your views on what Elliot describes as the epidemic of fake DJs and dodgy promotions agents only signing big names, even if they're playing pre-recorded sets. So this is definitely one view of the industry, and I'm not sure it's one that you really share, Jeff, but you tell us. Does the industry need an overhaul so that new, real DJs get a chance? So, Jeff, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, there's a few. The way that I look at it, and it's easier to explain it with an example. I like to play basketball. I really think that I can shoot. I don't think I can play for the New York Knicks. If I go to try out for the New York Knicks, I'm going to get laughed out of the gym. So at the end of the day, if you're a professional, you have no time to worry about the amateurs. You have no time to worry if there is a promoter or a club or a party that hires someone that's not a professional DJ. That promoter, club, or party wasn't for you in the first place. So don't worry about it. Like, I am not a country and western singer, not that anything's wrong with it, I don't do that. So I don't worry about what they're doing in country and western. Worry about what's in your backyard. If you're a DJ, you play real music, you have real skills, real taste, you play for real people who love music. That's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about what's not in your control.
I think it's part of your philosophy, that, Jeff, that came off really strongly when we were with you, and it's kind of why you inspire people so much, that you don't, you realize the truth that's going on here. And DJing, in inverted commas, is a very, very big thing nowadays. And by big, I mean it's broad. You've got radio DJs, wedding DJs, you've got people programming music in bars and lounges, you've got festivals where they basically they pay big name producer pop stars to come and play what might well be a very choreographed half-hour set of music. But it's fantastic. If you like those artists, you like those tracks, and you like being at big productions with your friends, absolutely brilliant. How they're doing that shouldn't be your concern, and it shouldn't eat you up at night when you're lying there thinking, why aren't I getting the gigs? Because what you're not thinking about is that exact question. You're thinking about how are they getting the gigs? But like you say, Jeff, they're not the gigs for you if you don't want to do that. And if you don't want to sit there remixing amazing pop music that you've made yourself to put on the best half hour in front of a stadium of people next Saturday night, which is what these guys and girls are doing, of course, then it's not for you. And if you don't understand that, you're the one who's got to do the growing, not them, right? That's kind of it. So, Elliot, work on your game and the people will come to you.
That's it.
So cool. Well, thank you very much with tackling that one. So this is I'm going to expand this question from Euro Nation. What's the difference between live streaming and DJing in person? So Euro Nation says Twitch, but of course you can live stream in other places as well. But what's the differences between those two things? Because you're a big live streamer, Jeff. And how do you transition between them? How do you say it's a live gig tonight, it's a live stream tonight? Share some insights.
Well, the first thing that I do is, what I realize is I am not owning to a dance floor when I live stream. Like, a lot of times live streaming is really about, unless people want to dance in their house, which a lot of people do, live streaming is about giving good music journeys to people. Now, if I'm doing a in-person show, most of those are about people dancing. So I may not play a smooth groove set at the club. I may not play a yacht rock set at the club. Now, I can do all of that stuff on a live stream. Live streaming has given me the ability to expand in so many ways that I couldn't necessarily do in a club, because a club is not suited for that. So I think I have a lot more freedom DJing or live streaming than I do in a club. My main goal and objective is in a club is to make people dance.
Do you find that you've had to learn to use the microphone a bit more with your live streaming, which you've done an awful lot of in the last couple of years?
You know what's funny? I've always used the microphone. I've always taken the MC on the road with me that I didn't have to. But, you know, when Will and I started off, Will and I would have full-on conversations, you know, on stage. So, you know, and I came up in the era where the DJ's job was a little bit more expanded. You had to announce the wedding party. You had to say, license plate 462, they're towing your car. You need to go out right now. There were things that you had to do on the mic that you know, once we started live streaming, I just picked back up on.
So thank you for sharing that. We've got Steve's question here. This is the URL, by the way, people. I could never do the pointy thing with the camera. If you want to check out Jeff's course, which is absolutely fantastic, there's a current $100 saving on it for 4th of July weekend. Of course, it isn't the weekend anymore, so that's going to be ending very soon. 4th of July party weekend. Holiday weekend. So it's ending kind of now. So do jump on that quickly if you're interested. And you should be. So the next question is from Steve, who's got the course, who said, I love the course, and indeed I played my first set for my family yesterday. So there you go. Thank you so much to the both of you. Well done, Steve. Steve says, my question, Jeff, how do you go about creating an entire set? do you know any of the songs already? And by know, I think he probably means, have you decided you're going to play any of the songs already?
I decide where I'm gonna start, and then I let everything else, fall into place. And a lot of times, I think it's not the most comfortable, but some of the best sets are sets that I just start playing music and see what comes out. You have to really know your music, know where your music is to play like that. But that's why a lot of the sets I say I'm doing a gumbo set because I'm just throwing all kinds of music in the pot. And sometimes I end up in places that I never thought that I would, that I enjoy it. So I think, it's really I don't, I want to know where am I starting. Once I know where I'm starting, then I can just play.
You say in the course, I need to know where I'm starting and how long I'm playing for, because
Yep.
unless I know where, how long I've got to do my beginning, middle, and end, I'm not settled. But you're very clever and careful in the way you arrange your music so that it's possible for you to do that, to be that free, if you like. And there's a whole module in the course where Jeff talks about how he does this. So there's this module I'm showing you on the screen now, how I get and prepare my music. And in here, Jeff talks through his approach, the way he sorts his serato out, the way he makes his playlist. And he actually talks us through playlists in these videos here. So you're actually getting to look inside his collection, his crates. And so if you're interested in the way Jeff appears to be doing it all on the fly and appears to be just selecting from decades and decades of music without really putting any effort in when he's DJing, this will show you that it couldn't be further from the truth. There's an awful lot of work has gone in to be that free. And to appear to be that effortless when it comes to music selection behind the decks, which is all taught in the course, people. So do go and take a look at that on the Digital DJ Tips website. If you are interested in learning more, head to digitaldjtips.com and click on that big banner there. And you will learn more. Right, so let's grab another live question or two. Jeff, I know I've overrun the time we had in the set, and I know you need a coffee, so I'm going to keep it to 2 or 3 more questions, if that's all right with you.
Let's go.
So we've got a technical question from Cadillac, who says, I was trying to practice scratching yesterday on some Serato vinyl, and the vinyl was slippery, and I couldn't really grip it to do the motions. Are you going to talk about your plaster now, Jeff? Over to you.
Well, I think in situations like that, you should always have a vinyl cleaner because you don't know if the record was oily or your hands were oily. Sometimes you may need to wash. A big no-no for DJs is a lot of times we like to put lotion on the palm of our hands. I understand you may not want to be ashy on the back of your hands, that you put lotion on the back of your hands, but not necessarily on the palm because that oil gets on the record. Your hands start to slip. Was it hot and were your hands sweaty? Like all of these are things. Like I've always said, when you're touching vinyl, it's like playing golf. That it's always different because the weather's always different. The grass is always different. Did it rain the night before? There's so many things that you have to check. So that's why I keep a towel, some wet ones in my bag that I can dry my hands off if I feel like my hands are oily, to dry the records off. It's a whole lot of things. So you have to pretty much go down that checklist and see which one, and then find the vinyl that you really like, that feels good, and take that vinyl everywhere.
It's good you should say that, because we actually had another question on another live stream recently where someone said I swapped from like red to blue Serato vinyl or something, and then the blue didn't feel as good as the red, and we were like, is this really a thing? And we kind of concluded it was. And you can get very different feeling time code vinyl. It just you get the stuff you like. Jeff, people always ask, so I'm going to prompt you. Your plaster on your finger. Tell people why you have a little plaster on one of your fingers when you're scratching, when you're DJing.
It's funny. I got a wart on my finger when I was about 10 years old. They used to say back in the day, you get warts from playing with frogs. I don't believe that. But I got a wart on my finger that I could have gotten removed, but I had it on my finger when I started DJing. and I started to feel like this might be my good luck charm. So I named him Herman, and Herman has been with me ever since I started DJing. I had a doctor asking me if he could remove it, and I was like, absolutely not, because I felt that if I got rid of Herman, all of my powers would be gone.
And there we go. There's the truth from the right from the horse's mouth there. So
So say hello to Herman.
I never heard that touching frogs gives you warts. It just goes to show the different things our parents tell us in different parts of town. I have to say, those of you who haven't listened to Jeff, haven't seen him teaching before, will just have already picked up on the way he likes to do things. You've got a story about everything, Jeff. You know, oh, it's like golf. Oh, it's like this. It's like that. And it's a really nice way of illuminating, you know, all the hard thought you've put into DJing and just making it into simple stories that people can understand. And I want to tell the story about how when we were with you, I mean, we spent many days together, morning, noon and night, recording this course. And despite the fact the course has got like 110 lessons in it, it's big. That was still probably only 10% of the time we spent together actually ended up in those lessons. And the other 90% we were just obviously planning our lessons, talking about what we'd done. But as a lot of gems came out, a lot of stuff came out in that downtime that until now has just sat on the cutting room floor, really. And so we spent some time going through it all. And we've added a whole new bonus section to Jeff's course. And it is called DJ Jazzy Jeff Uncut. And the reason it's called that is that it is in a very nice way and in a non-aggressive way. There's a little bit of swearing in it from all of us, I have to say. But in this Uncut, Jeff talks through so many things that didn't make it into the main course. And it's just the kind of stuff you've heard him talking about now. So I just click into one of these lessons. You'll see that this one has got... these are some of the things he shares. Serving the people, being an open format DJ, the link between EDM and 80s electro, the importance of ending sets right, not panicking if you clear the dance floor, why you should have several playlists, not chasing euphoria, dealing with the unexpected, and the best back massage ever. These are all things in just one of the lessons in this whole new module that we've added. So I hope you're getting a flavour of some of the new stuff that's been put into Jeff's course for this relaunch that's currently going on. Jeff, we didn't want to leave that stuff there forever on the floor, so we've added it all in.
I love it.
And it really gives a flavour of the way you think, you know, away from the decks, which is what we wanted to add in. Just to remind people as well that if you're interested in grabbing this course, it is currently $100 off for 4th of July holiday weekend for the next 17 hours. So go to the Digital DJ Tips website and click on the icon, or just go straight to this URL here, djtips.co/Jeff. And you can learn more about it there. Right, so one more question then I think, so that we can let you get off and get your morning coffee, Jeff. I mean, I'm just scrolling through pages and pages of people sending you best wishes and so on, Jeff. So I'll put a couple of those on the screen while I find the next question to share with you. Let's just go. I always like to pick a good one to end with you. I always dig a hole for myself at the end of these things because I'm like, well, we want to end on a high here. And I just then spend like half an hour scrolling through our questions. I wish I could show you how many I've got because we're on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. So we've got so many coming in. All right, yeah, I'm going to end with a question from my friend Mixmaster G, who is actually the man. I'll let you into something here, Jeff. He's the man behind that very, very, very useful DJ conversion utility that costs you $20 on Shopify and will let you convert your cues and your playlists and your loops and your everything, your waveforms and stuff from Recordbox to Tractor and Serato to DJ. And DJ Mixmaster G is the man behind this piece of software. So I think he deserves the last question. So over to you, Mixmaster G. Jeff, he uses what I call the scream from the beginning of Malcolm McLaren's Buffalo Gals as his signature. And if you don't know that scream, just go and get Malcolm McLaren's Buffalo Gals up on your Spotify after this and listen, and you'll know it immediately. So Mixmaster G asks, what is the story behind that very recognizable sound, Jeff?
I think when we came up, every DJ had an intro, and most of the intros were sound effects. A lot of people use the lasers from the Brothers Johnson Blam album in the beginning. people used Billy Paul's War of the Gods. You know, there were very specific intros that people use. And I think that beginning scream, once I heard that, that was one that you just kind of put in the repertoire of all of these intros. Now that I'm naming all these intros, I think I'm about to dig up some of these intros again. But you know, every DJ, that was basically how you started. That's how you went from one DJ to another. Once someone finished their set and you started, you had to start with a sound effect, and it came. So, you know, once it got put in Serato, I'm like, oh man, I got all of my favorites right here.
I'm actually going to hijack for one more question because I'm sure you've seen this, Jeff, but if you haven't, and certainly other people might not have seen it, Algorithms DJ has now got DVS, the software that works on your phone and your Mac. You've seen this, right, Jeff?
Yes.
The DVS vinyl has got a very special B-side. The A-side's normal DVS vinyl, but the B-side is Neural Mix Stems vinyl. So it's got 3 tracks on it. It's got a normal, an instrumental, and an a cappella. And just by dropping your needle on normal, instrumental, and a cappella, the software will immediately switch off the stuff you don't want, the vocals, or turn off the drums and the melody. So it's a way for turntablists, for performance DJs, to basically get instant a cappellas out of anything they're playing. Have you seen this, Jeff?
I have not seen that, and that looks extremely interesting.
Well, that is what our final question of today, which wasn't going to be the final question because we've already had it, but I couldn't help. I know you love your technology, Jeff. So yes. Craig says, for someone who comes from vinyl and has also adapted to DVS and phase, what do you think of the new B-side timecode vinyl for stems? Are tech advances taking us away from actual DJing? So Jeff, I'm putting you on the spot here, but let me tell you, it works really well. It does exactly what I just described. We've tested it and made a video about it. What do you think of it? Good thing, bad thing, fun thing?
I want to answer this question first. There are no tech advances that are going to take away from actual DJing unless you can't actually DJ. Like, I don't think that there's anybody in this world that actually takes real photographs or worried about an iPhone. Like, once again, worry about what you do and not what someone else does. So I don't think that will take away. I actually think that you might get some of the most creative things that you've heard out of people that know how to use this right. You know, I've always found it interesting that we don't think about what we can do with a tool. We worry about the people who have the tools that you think it's going to help them. And I'm always looking in front of me, like, what can I do with this? How can I use this to enhance what I already do? I'm never worrying about, you know, someone is going to push the sync button and be able to mix. You know, I don't worry about that.
Cool. Well, on that positive note, we'll stop the questions there, people. We've kept Jeff for far longer than we wanted to, but it's been fantastic. So thank you, Jeff. So one more time then, people, the course is currently, because it's on a special 4th of July weekend, party weekend, holiday weekend offer. It's currently, Jeff's course is currently $100 saving. Now this saving ends in a matter of hours. So do head over there and take a look at it. You get the course for life where we've just added loads of new stuff to it, as we've been talking about. It really is a phenomenal investment in your DJing. If you like Jeff, if you're interested in how he DJs, if you're just a fan and you want to get under the skin of it, but it will teach you basically through the powers of a mix that he's made just for this course, exactly how it's all done. So go read about it over on the website. You can learn more about it by hitting digitaldjtips.com or just taking a shortcut, djtips.co/Jeff, which will take you straight to that page. Jeff, what are you going to do now then? It's Tuesday morning. You've had a whole weekend of it. You've still got DJs staying at your house. Are you back on the decks later? What's the plan?
Scratch Bastard has Tuesday morning coffee going on right now. I'm gonna grab my coffee and I may get on the decks with him.
So he's actually live on Twitch as we speak then?
Right now. We should raid him.
I wish I knew how to, mate. It's hard enough getting the two of us side by side on the screen, never mind raiding him. But no, we should. So Scratch Bastard's over there on Twitch right now, live from Jeff's compound. Let's be honest, Jeff, it's more than a house. So get over there, people, straight afterwards. Lots of people giving you a heads up here, Jeff, and just saying the course is definitely worth it. Larry says, I purchased it a few months ago. When will the new content be added? Yes, everyone who's bought the course gets all the new content. Doesn't matter when you bought it, people. So go look in there now. It's already there. Just a whole stream of goodwill and thank yous going on now, Jeff. So listen, my friend, thank you very much. I hope we can do it again quite soon. And you have a great day.
You guys also. Thank you.
Hey, cool. And Digital DJ Tips crew, I'm off for the summer now, so I'll see you in September for the next Tuesday Tips. We've gone out on a high. From all of us here, thanks for coming. Get good, get out there, make the moments. Jeff, have a good one.
Have a good vacation.
Thank you.